Esteemed guests, welcome to the 2021 United States Hispanic Chamber of Commerce Breakfast, In Her Footsteps, Women in Business and Leadership. To begin our program, a message from our sponsor, Bank of America.
It is my honor to join you today on behalf of Bank of America and welcome you to the In Her Footsteps Breakfast. I offer my congratulations to U.S. Hispanic Chamber of Commerce President and CEO Ramiro Cavazos and Board Chair Alice Rodriguez for bringing us together today, some remotely, some in person, to build upon the success of Hispanic-owned businesses and business owners. This morning, we have the unique opportunity to focus in on women in business, Latinas in business. I'm excited to learn more, especially given in the U.S., 42% of small businesses are owned by women, employing millions of people and generating nearly $2 trillion in sales. So it's clear to me that women in business are a force to be reckoned with. That's why we at Bank of America are connecting women entrepreneurs to mentoring, capital, and other tools that help advance their businesses. We've committed $100 million to affordable loans for women entrepreneurs through a partnership with the Tory Burch Foundation. We've also recently expanded our support of the Bank of America Institute for Women's Entrepreneurship at Cornell to enable 50,000 women entrepreneurs to take free online business courses. And I'm pleased to share we've adapted this curriculum into Spanish in order to reach more Latinas and women in business. The U.S. Hispanic Chamber is helping us fill those seats each day. Women in business are leading undoubtedly. I'm so excited to learn more today from the dialogue. Thank you.
Representing our sponsor, BP America, welcome the Global and U.S. Head of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, Mark Crawford.
Good morning. Buenos dias to everyone. On behalf of the corporate members and sponsors, I'd like to welcome you and thank you for your commitment to the United States Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and for joining us here today. I'm elated to be here with you alongside BP's supplier diversity team and our other BP colleagues. Supplier diversity is an area where our community and our business investments intersect. As one of the first corporations in the U.S. to create an official supplier diversity program, BP is proud to partner alongside the USHCC in building economic prosperity for Hispanic-owned businesses. All right, I love hand claps. There we go. In 2020 alone, BP employed over 10,000 employees in the U.S. and supported over 125,000 jobs. And in the first half of 2021, BP has spent more than $12 million with Hispanic-owned businesses, and we're not done yet. All right. As BP shifts from being an international oil company to an international energy company, providing investments, jobs, and energy that empower America's economy, our strategic partnerships, including our partnerships with many of you in this room, are more important than ever. I'm excited at BP that we've established a sustainability frame, and within this frame, we aim towards greater diversity, greater equity, and greater inclusion for our workforce, for our customers, and to increase supplier diversity spend to $1 billion by 2025. So it is a huge, huge agenda and aspiration for us, which means plenty of opportunities for the folks sitting in this room and those that are members of the USHCC. So on behalf of the USHCC, we hope you enjoy this national conference. It's been great so far, and we hope you enjoy this plenary session. And on behalf of BP's thousands of employees in the U.S., including those in Houston, in Denver, and Chicago, we say that we are welcome and excited about partnering with you, and we look forward to creating more opportunities for those that are in this room and those beyond. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Crawford, for your and BP America's continued support. Please welcome, representing our sponsor, Mass Mutual, the head of procurement, William Porter.
Good morning. So it's been a pleasure meeting all of you this week, and I'm really excited to share with you the work that's happening at Mass Mutual. One thing I love about Mass Mutual is our purpose: to help people secure their future and protect the ones they love. And we didn't invent the concept of living mutual, but it guides everything that we do. During the pandemic, Mass Mutual is offering healthcare workers free life insurance policies up to $25,000 through our program, HealthBridge. We've written over 14,000 policies. This is only one of the many ways that we're creating change within our community. I've been with Mass Mutual since 2009, and I actually started in the technology organization. I'm fortunate to work at a place that values diversity, equity, and inclusion. In 2020, I took the opportunity to become the head of procurement to transform how we operate with our suppliers and leverage our buying power to enable equity and inclusion. When I took this role, it was with the understanding that we would rebuild procurement from the ground up and build supplier diversity into every capability. We will do that by holding ourselves and all of our suppliers accountable for investments in diversity, equity, and inclusion. In May of 2021, Roger Crandall, our CEO, and Lori Valallanes, the head of diversity, equity, and inclusion, released a joint statement on Mass Mutual's commitment to DE&I. We want to be part of creating a sustainable world where more people have equitable access to the broadest range of economic and career opportunities to help them achieve financial security. We've also announced that Mass Mutual has committed to procure $150 million from diverse suppliers over the next 5 years. We're developing a diverse business enrichment program, an outreach strategy that will help us achieve these goals. We've committed a $50 million capital investment to invest in over 175 underrepresented businesses, and we're excited to provide a $100,000 sponsorship to the United States Hispanic Chamber of Commerce to support Hispanic-owned businesses. I'm very proud to work for an organization that lives mutually. And after only 2 days, I see the exact same spirit in this room. I hope you all have a great day.
Buenos dias, familia. My name is Patty Juarez, and I'm the head of diverse segments for Wells Fargo Commercial Banking. On behalf of Wells Fargo, I am pleased to extend our heartfelt appreciation to the United States Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. A special thank you to our leaders, Ramiro Cavazos and Alice Rodriguez, and the entire USHCC team for their amazing commitment to the Hispanic business community. As we all continue to navigate the challenges presented by the pandemic, the work that the USHCC does to promote economic growth, development, and the interest of more than 4.7 million Hispanic-owned businesses is more important than ever. Therefore, we thank you. It is a tremendous honor for Wells Fargo to collaborate with the USHCC, not only by proudly sponsoring this event, but also by sponsoring business development training and mentoring programs. Wells Fargo and the USHCC share a common goal, shining a light on the significant economic contributions Hispanic businesses make and working to ensure that this vital community continues to build capacity and thrive in good times and during uncertainty. Through our collaboration, we hope to continue to play a significant role propelling the Hispanic business community forward for many years to come. Muchísimas gracias, mi querida familia, y disfruten la conferencia. Adiós.
The day the world stopped was the day we found where to go. Lost together, we discovered ourselves again. And we realized that the things that matter deserve time.
That looks good.
From now on, we're not going to leave anything on our plates. Because we've learned to savor the moments that were always there. And they never tasted this good.
And now, welcome, representing our sponsor, the Coca-Cola Company, the Vice President of Stakeholder and Community Management, Alba Castillo Belin.
Thank you. Good morning, and thank you for joining this plenary breakfast. On behalf of the Coca-Cola Company, I bring greetings from Alfredo Rivera, our North America Operating Unit President, who is a great friend of the U.S. Hispanic Chamber and a champion of Hispanic business and community in general. For me, it is my privilege to work with the U.S. Chamber and with many other organizations that are represented in this group to foster growth and advance access to opportunity in our Hispanic community. I always like to say that 3 decades ago, our former chairman, the late Roberto Gosuera, recognized the tight linkage between the well-being of American society as a whole and our country's growing Hispanic population. Today, more than ever, his vision is being realized in the makeup of our workforce, in our C-suite leadership, our supply chain, our consumer engagement, our bottling partners, and the many communities we support through our philanthropy. We are grateful for Ramiro's leadership, along with his team and the Chamber Board, to build an ecosystem that will accelerate Hispanic business growth and prosperity. Coca-Cola, thank you. I just want you to know that Coca-Cola is proud to work with you, and along with my colleagues here, thank you for including us. And now, please enjoy breakfast, and I will see you in a little bit. Thanks.
Mi familia es lo más importante para mí. Yo lo que trabajo, lo que me esfuerzo es para ellos. Es para darles una mejor vida. Gracias a Dios por T-Mobile yo lo tengo ahorita. Aquí no hay límite, nadie te limita aquí. Nadie te dice porque eres latino, porque eres diferente, o porque no hablas el inglés bien, o no te has recibido, no puedes moverte. Tomamos mucho en orgullo en hacer esa cultura trabajadora y me siento uno que es parte de una familia y que su voz cuenta, que es algo bien importante porque no muchas empresas a los latinos los hace sentir de esa manera. Nosotros crecimos en un barrio de migrantes y mi responsabilidad que siempre me dejó mi padre es que lo que te dio Dios tú tienes que darle a tu comunidad. Y hasta la fecha seguimos con ese tipo de tradición. Vamos a buscar qué es lo que necesita la comunidad y cómo les podemos ayudar. Algo que a mí se me hizo sumamente bello. Porque aquí es como una familia, nos unimos y todos apoyan, todos ayudan. Yo sé que la vida es diferente gracias a T-Mobile y quiero que mi papá que falleció, que él esté muy orgulloso de él esté de su hijo.
Esteemed guests, representing our sponsor T-Mobile, welcome Principal Manager of Government and External Affairs, Joanna Diaz-Sofer.
Hello, I'm delighted to join all of you in the U.S. Hispanic Chamber of Commerce today for the In Her Footsteps Women in Business and Leadership Breakfast. T-Mobile is proud to support USHCC's efforts to advocate and empower Hispanic business owners. This morning, we celebrate the accomplishments of women in business. Latinas are a vibrant and growing part of this country, making strides in education, technology, government, corporate America, and of course, business. As the Latino community prospers, T-Mobile is leading in creating next-generation opportunities and using technology as a catalyst for growth so that no one is left behind. We are grateful for the leadership of Ramiro and the board, all who make the Chamber a truly impactful force for good. Thank you for this opportunity to celebrate Latina businesswomen. Enjoy your breakfast.
Many thanks to all our sponsors for their continued support. Let's take a moment to send a virtual saludo to the Greater Quad Cities Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, joining us virtually from Moline, Illinois. Now we invite you to enjoy your breakfast break and share this time with friends and colleagues.
My name is Sofia De Leon, and I am the founder and owner of El Mercury. We are a Central American street food and churro bar restaurant in 2104 Chestnut Street, our first location, and then the second one is in Reading Terminal in Philadelphia. 2104 Chestnut Street is the Rittenhouse neighborhood of Philadelphia, and pre-pandemic used to be a great location. It's between where people live, like Graduate Hospital, and also the offices. So people would come here and there would be a lunch rush, and then we're also really close to the University of Pennsylvania and Drexel, so we had like intersection of students and then families and the lunch crowd of like the office people. And then Reading Terminal is amazing, and I feel really fortunate to be there because it is a historical place. Apart from the Bell, I would say the second most visited landmark in Philadelphia. I think it's a great location, and I think we're really fortunate to be in both of these places. Prior to the pandemic, we only had one location. We were focused on the lunch rush. We did a lot of business with the University of Pennsylvania because we were a preferred caterer with them. We were doing like 2-3 deliveries there a day. That was going really well, and then everything changed. Catering disappeared. We had maybe 25 orders lined up. Slowly, they were all canceled. We had weddings lined up, all canceled as well. The lunch crowd disappeared because everybody was working from home, and also we were not able to sit anyone inside. So we pivoted to start doing more deliveries. We were doing Grubhub, Caviar, Uber Eats, but instead we started doing more meal plans. So we partnered with another restaurant. We started bringing family meals to the suburbs. We made meals for the community, for frontline workers, for homeless communities, for people who had lost their jobs. So we kept going. We kept making food for anybody that would pay, that was available, that needed it, and we stayed open that way. I first heard about the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce because they came to me to recruit me for this program, Accelerate, which was basically a bunch of other small business owners. We would just go over everything that we were doing in our business and examine it, finance, accounting, etc., and then build a network that way. The support the chamber gave me was, when the PPP first was announced, everybody was scrambling to see how to get money, like what you had to do. There was a lot of paperwork involved, and they had webinars, they had classes, they had CPAs, and then they connected, within this same Accelerate program that we did, we had a small network where we all knew each other, and one of the CPAs there kind of took the lead and helped us all. So that was great to know them, to know him, because having that personal relationship was great, right? Because I felt like I had guidance, I knew what to do, and that if I ever came across any questions, then I had somebody to reach out to. Last year, during Hispanic Heritage Month, I got a lot of support from the chamber in getting the media here. We did classes for some of the companies here that was also part of the network of the chamber. We did a Pico small business video that was a connection through the chamber, and they helped me actually lower my electricity bill. So having this connection with the chamber has been really helpful in that we've stayed open and we've been able to keep people employed, and not just have people employed, but we've grown and we've been able to hire more people. So it was the network that I didn't know I needed. It took me maybe 2 years before I even learned about them. And after I did, I was like, how did I not reach out to them sooner? Because if it wasn't for the chamber and their support, maybe we wouldn't be here.
Tackling climate change and providing energy isn't an either-or. We have to do both. America's natural gas and oil companies have helped the U.S. become the world leader in reducing emissions, all while keeping the lights on across the country. We've already made progress. Together, we can go further. Join us at energyforprogress.org.
Now is no time to return to normal. It's time to go places normal's never been. Oh, bellissimo, Carlo. And do things normal can't even imagine. It's a whole new day, people. What's up, Roy? So don't waste it. Copperfield, you're magic.
I know.
It's time for the time of your life. Hey, boys. 1 second. Tell Gaga whatever she's thinking. We love it. And Vegas is where you'll find it. Okay, commercials over, people. Back to work.
Good morning. I'm Jessica Taylor, National Director of Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses. I am so excited to join you to celebrate Hispanic women business leaders. You are making an incredible impact in your communities, creating jobs and opportunity across the country. Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses is proud to be a longtime partner of the U.S. Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. For over a decade, 10,000 Small Businesses has helped thousands of entrepreneurs grow their businesses. We are nearly 12,000 strong across all 50 states and Puerto Rico, representing a community of business owners that employ 200,000 people and earn $14 billion in total revenue. I'm proud to share that nearly 50% of our graduates are women and 13% are Hispanic business owners. You all have collective power to drive inclusive economic growth across the country. This is why we love partnering with the U.S. Hispanic Chamber of Commerce under the incredible leadership of President Ramiro Cavazos. Through our program, research, and advocacy platform, 10,000 Small Businesses Voices, we create opportunities for you to be heard. We are excited for our continued collaboration with President Cavazos and his team as we create a strong entrepreneurship support system for you to help you be the next generation of women business leaders. 10,000 Small Businesses is here and at the ready to help you grow. Apply now by visiting 10ksbapply.com. We are so excited to work with you.
Esteemed guests, we hope you've enjoyed this time with amigos and colleagues. And now, please welcome to moderate our panel, The Need for More Latinas in the Boardroom and in the C-Suite, the President and CEO of the Latino Corporate Directors Association, Esther Aguilera.
I'm going to need a clicker. Buenos días. Latinas have a strong tradition as entrepreneurs, driving business formation and driving growth in corporate America. There is ample Latina talent for the boardroom. Just take a look at this room. And take a look at the women that have come through this stage. However, Latinas are invisible in the boardroom. I brought some stats to share with you. Latinas are the least tapped, and we have the widest gap to close. Latinas make up only 1% of Fortune 500 company board seats. Yet we are 18% of the women in this country. Less than any other demographic, the Latina power is needed in the boardroom. What's more, over the last 10 years, we lost ground. In 2010, Latinas were only 0.7% of Fortune 500 board seats. Today, it's only 1%. We only grew by 0.3% over 10 years. How does that happen? That is unacceptable in 21st century America. I have some promising news. So the Latino Corporate Directors Association was formed by a pioneering group of Latino corporate directors. They got tired of hearing the excuse that they can't find qualified Latinos for the boardroom and tired of complaining about the low numbers. So this group got together to do something about it. Our focus is to increase the number of Latinos and Latinas in the boardroom by raising awareness, by preparing the next bench of Latinas for the boardroom, and by being a resource to companies, search firms, private equity. This year, we're helping with about 300 board opportunities and sending a dynamic pool of candidates for the boardroom. I want to recognize Ramiro Cavazos, your esteemed CEO. Together, we formed a coalition called Latino Voices for Board Equity. with 6 other organizations, Ramiro and I led the way. We are writing companies. We started writing companies in California who had no Latinos on the board. And just last month, we sent letters to every Fortune 1000 company that also lacks Latinos in the boardroom. We're having meetings, right, Ramiro? We have meetings with the board chairs, NAMGov chairs, and ask them, where are your Latinas? Where are your Latinos? And I'm happy to report that it is having an impact. In the first 6 months of this year, in 2021, we have increased Latino appointments fourfold, 4 times greater than any time in the history of this country. We helped influence 174 board appointments compared to 43 last year. So this is making a difference. So we're going to have a conversation with our panel. I'd like to introduce first Dr. Yvonne Maldonado. She is Professor of Pediatrics, Health Research, and Policy at Stanford University. Welcome, Dr. Maldonado. Next is Sid Wilson, President and CEO of ACER, the Hispanic Association on Corporate Responsibility. Next, let's welcome Valerie Insignatis. She is a franchisee and former president of Longhorn Steakhouse. Well, let's get to know our panel a little better. So first, for about a minute and a half, tell us about where you're from, where you live, and your journey in your professional career. Let's start with Dr. Maldonado.
Well, thank you so much. It's really a pleasure to be here and to see all of these Latina faces, and Latinos too, and others, but especially the Latinas. My name is Yvonne Maldonado, and I'm from Southern California. I'm from Monterey Park, and I'm a first in school, first in college, product of Mexican parents. And I went to UCLA undergraduate and Stanford Medical School. And then I trained at Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore in pediatrics and infectious diseases. And then I worked at the Centers for Disease Control. And I trained as an infectious disease epidemiologist. Following that, my mentor at Stanford brought me back to Stanford and got me a full tenured track position on the faculty at Stanford. And that's where I've been for my whole career. And I have worked in health disparities research for children. I do global child health. I'm an infectious disease vaccinologist, and I've been deeply involved with COVID-19 research, public policy, and community engagement, especially among our communities of color. So that's where I came from, and we can talk a little bit more later. Thank you. Good.
I'm also going to ask our panelists to tell us what boards you're on. Dr. Maldonado?
Yes, so in May, I was voted onto the board of the California Water Service Group. It has been an honor and a pleasure to work with them. I started off working with them as a consultant on COVID and infectious diseases in the last year. And they asked me to consider running for the board, and apparently I did better than all of them on the votes. So I was really excited about that.
Let's go to Sid.
Good. Well, let me first start saying Buenos días, mi gente. It's so great to be here with so many empowering Latinos and to be on a session talking about Latinas, because I'm proud to say that I am a strong ally of the Latina Empower Her movement. And all Latinos and all men need to stand strong, not to just say we support Latinas, but we are championship allies of Latinas. And so, I'm the President and Chief Executive Officer of the Hispanic Association on Corporate Responsibility. We've been around for 35 years. Our mission is to advance Hispanic inclusion in corporate America. I do need to give a big shout out, not only to our HACER board, to also our HACER board chair, who is also the President and Chief Executive Officer of the U.S. Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, Ramiro Cavazos. Thank you for your leadership as our board chair, who's also a strong ally for Latinas. And additionally, I serve on boards. I serve on the board of directors of Rupert Industries, which is the 5th largest landscape construction company in the whole country, and on at least 4 different advisory boards. And I just got named just 5 days ago to the Junior Achievement USA Board of Directors.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank
That's
you.
wonderful. Valerie, tell us about you and your journey to your board.
Thank you, Esther. Good morning, everyone, and thanks to the U.S. Hispanic Chamber of Commerce for having me participate this morning in this exciting discussion, a new discussion for me as well, as we'll get to know. I am Mexican-American. I am currently in the Chicago area. I grew up on the far southeast side, so go White Sox. I am proud to tell you that I serve on the board of Del Taco Restaurants, which many of you know is a quick service, Mexican-American inspired quick service restaurant. I would say I've had 3 chapters to my journey so far. The first chapter of my journey was really as a corporate restaurant executive. I worked on iconic national brands such as KFC, Burger King, Olive Garden, Longhorn Steakhouse. I built my expertise in my career starting in supply chain, which used to be this sleepy thing that no one ever wanted to do. Now everybody is like in high demand. So supply chain, I moved into restaurant operations and took on significant P&L responsibility, and then ultimately made my way to the C-suite as a brand president for a large publicly traded company. The second chapter of my career after my corporate chapter ended was actually as an entrepreneur. I was a franchisee for a fast casual pizza restaurant. I opened it in 2018, and at the start of the pandemic, unfortunately, like many businesses, decided to close. And then in May of this year, I was named to the Del Taco board. So I'm starting my 3rd chapter, and I'm excited to share more about that during the panel.
Let's start with Valerie. With the number of Latina directors being so low, what is the business case for adding Latinas and Latinos?
Thanks, Esther. I mean, the business case, I think everyone in this audience is greatly aware and appreciative of it. But KPMG, in partnership with the Latino Corporate Directors Association, recently issued a report that again reiterated what we already know. We represent 18.5% of the US population. That number is expected to grow to 29% by 2050. We represent $2.6 trillion, or 25% of the US GDP, and that's growing at a rate faster than the top 10 world economies. So the case is very clear economically, and we also know that diversity in the boardroom matters. During the pandemic, a diverse board helped companies weather the storm better than less diverse and less inclusive boards. So according to the Board Ready Institute, if the company had a board representation of 30% people of color, they saw a 4% increase in revenue, while those that had less than 20% saw a dip of 2.8%. In addition, companies that were made up of at least 30% female women directors outperformed less diverse boards in 11 of the top 15 S&P segments last year. So clearly, we've known this for many years. It makes a difference to the business, and it makes a difference to the success.
Does anyone else want to chime in?
Well, sure. I think a couple of things that we should know firsthand. One is, Latinas, ustedes tienen poder. And let me share something that I shared when I spoke at the World Economic Forum in Davos. If I named you a country that is the 8th largest economy in the world, that is dollar denominated, that is AAA rated, that is in a strong regulatory structure, whose average age is 29, whose mode age is 11, and growing faster than every G20 country, and growing faster than many developing countries, would you invest in a country like that? Of course, everyone around the world said, sure. I just described to you the US Latino community. Now, when you disaggregate the part that's Latina specific, then you will find that Latinas, get this, Latinas, you alone are about the 12th or 13th largest economy in the world. And so I share that briefly because whenever a company says, show me the business case for more Latinos on boards, I respond to say, why don't you show me the business case for an all-white men board? And then you tell me about why I should be making the business case. It's not up to us to assimilate to your white board. It's up to you to acculturate to the Latina movement in America. And that's why the work that we're doing at ACER is to really push for more Latinos on boards.
That's precisely right. Did you know of the 3,000 largest public companies in the US, 87% of those board seats are held by whites? Boards are dangerously disconnected from the new American economy. Our next question, Sid, please. Institutional investors have been calling for change. Now we have laws in California. We have NASDAQ that also published new rules for advancing board diversity. As a result, this year, as I mentioned, we've had a 4-fold increase in board appointments. Sid, tell us, what are other drivers of diversity and other strategies that we could be using to move this forward?
So step one is every one of you should be voting your shares. Many of you here in this room are shareholders. You should be asking the question, where are Latinos on your board and why not? And if you don't get an answer, you go to the shareholder meeting and you demand it, number one. Number two is it's important that we understand exactly not only what we need to do to advocate for it, but also what is a strategy to get on boards. And so great programs such as LCDA's board readiness programs, HACER executive programs, and many other great initiatives that are out there to make sure that not only are we building the networks, but also making sure that companies hear from all of you. And there's, with USHCC, with all of your business leaders and all of your local chambers, you can really make a significant impact because there's not a single person here in this room that could not serve on a board today. But the question is then, what must we do to make sure that corporate America recognizes that the qualifications can't be a white male-centric qualification, it's recognizing that we can make our contributions today, not tomorrow or in the future, today.
Now, let's hear a little bit more about your journeys to the boardroom. Can we start with Valerie? Tell us how this came about.
Yeah, I mean, I I'm going to start with the fact that representation matters, because the whole reason that I'm sitting here today is because when I was working for Darden Restaurants, Maria Sastre was appointed to our board, and when I saw her get appointed, it's something that I considered for myself for the first time, because I saw her and I saw myself in her. So I think that is a starting point that is significant that we can't take for granted. The reason that I started considering board work at this point in my career was post-pandemic. I have 3 children at home, and we had a lot of crazy schedules going on with a 17-year-old, a 14-year-old, and a 7-year-old special needs. So I wanted more flexibility. So that's where I started considering board work. My board was not using a recruiter. It was somebody that I networked with who was actually on the board. And it was a long process. It wasn't something that like corporate recruiting goes through. If it's 3 months, it's a long time. This was kind of more of an 8-month conversation. And I would say what was important to me during the process was that I wanted to be on a board where I was going to be respected and valued for my experience and my contribution and who I was before I was going to say yes. And that's what I found with the board leadership at Del Taco, and that's why I decided to join.
And I will make a footnote that our coalition, the Latino Voices for Board Equity, with USHCC and 6 other organizations, we wrote letters to companies in California that had all white boards. Del Taco was one of them. They got our letter. We have a Latina on the board. There we go. Dr. Maldonado.
Well, my story is a little different, obviously. I went in the academic physician track, so it's a little different. But let me just point out, to your point about being activists and trying to get people on boards, one of the things that we have to overcome, and this is true no matter what field you're talking about and no matter what kind of leadership you want to do, is overcoming not only explicit bias, but the implicit bias that exists. It's something that we're doing even in our own field, in academic medicine, in getting physicians in communities, healthcare providers in communities that look like all of us. I have heard story after story from my young Latina pre-meds. I was on a call last night till 8 o'clock with 8 of them who were being told, you can't go to medical school, you can't be a healthcare provider. And spending time with them, mentoring them, making them feel comfortable in their own skin is just the first step. That's hard enough. But then to get other people to recognize them, we are invisible to the C-suites. We are invisible in the Tier 4 and Tier 5. And we are invisible to the boards. And it may not be conscious to those people, but unconscious bias is prevalent in all of us, and it's deadly for us. So we need to find ways to overcome that unconscious bias. And I say that because it happened to me. I never thought I would be a dean. I am a dean right now. I am the Senior Associate Dean for Faculty Development and Diversity at Stanford University School of Medicine. My job is to make sure that our young faculty of color stay in their jobs, become the leaders today and in the future. And it's a lot of work because I'm telling you right now, our healthcare workers are stressed, they're tired. I have 3 kids. I remember what it was like when we had no support. And today we're facing another threat. We need to be supportive. We need to make sure people understand that they're worth it, that they can do it. And we have to we have to walk the talk. We have to put them in positions where they're going to succeed. And the same thing happened for me. So it was because of actually a white male surgeon who said, you know, Dr. Maldonado is an expert in this area. Let's ask her to consult on this board, for this board. And I did. I was hesitant because I have a lot of other things to do, but I thought it was an important career step as well as a service. And then when I was offered to be on the board of the California Water Service Group, I really hesitated. And this is last year. So even as a full professor who has had a full career in teaching faculty development and leadership for our healthcare workforce, I hesitated because I didn't think I could handle the bandwidth of doing that job, not recognizing that that is a necessary step for me and for all of us. We actually have to represent our community at those highest levels so that we can be seen across this country and around the world.
And Esther, if I could ask something real quickly with the minutes we have left, I want everyone to remember two things. Number one is that whenever a company says we can't find enough qualified Latinas to serve on boards, here's my answer to them every time. Stop looking west looking for a sunrise. Because if you're throwing all these resources and saying, I'm trying my best, I'm putting all this money, energies, I just cannot find that sunrise looking west, I'm like, just turn around and look east. And you'll see an ocean full of leaders, Latinos and Latinas that are ready to serve, number one. Number two is that remember this equation, D times I squared. Diversity times inclusion times intentionality. Because if you have diversity and you have inclusion, but there's no intentionality to rise, to bring Latinas up, what is anything times zero? Zero. Exactly. So it has to be intentional inclusion, to be intentional about having Latinas serve on boards, having Latinas in the C-suite, and having more Latinas serve as chief executive officers of major corporations as well. So
that is right on, 100%. And I will say, I've mentioned at the beginning that the Latino corporate directors is committed to paying it forward for the next generation. Our members are advising, coaching, and preparing the next bench. We run the Board Ready Institute, a comprehensive effort that gives you a game plan and toolkit to chart your pathway to the boardroom. 2, you learn about corporate governance and the latest trends in the boardroom. 3, it's about the network. You're a member of LCDA along with 400 other corporate directors and peers who also provide coaching. 4, we promote your profile for boardrooms. Join us, we invite you. Thank you to the panel. Thank you to Ramiro, his wonderful team, and USHCC. Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you.
Many thanks to all our panelists for that informative discussion. And now, distinguished guests, please welcome to present the Entrepreneurial Spirit Award, USHCC Board of Directors member, Betty Mineta.
How's my lipstick, okay? I mean, this mask. So good morning and welcome to the USHCC In Su Paso breakfast. Argent Associates and Associo are technology-based companies focused on providing state-of-the-art hardware and software to expand our wireless infrastructure, preparing for 5G and the rural broadband to close that digital divide. In addition, Argent has developed and patented our own multi-access edge computing devices to assist in smart cities and autonomous vehicles. If you've attended the national conference kickoff on Sunday, you heard from our president, Ramiro Cavazos, and our chairwoman, Alice Rodriguez, providing some analysis and statistics of Hispanic-owned businesses and our continuous and contributions of our amazing members. Today, I will be sharing with you some quick numbers on the state of the Hispanic women-owned businesses. Research on Hispanic-owned entrepreneurs find that there are over 1.9 million Hispanic-owned women firms in the United States. These firms are growing in number, revenue, and employment. According to the 2018 State of Women-Owned Businesses report by American Express, 400 Hispanic-owned women businesses are launched each day. And since 2017, Hispanic women-owned firms have grown at a rate of 172%. Hispanic women are also job creators. Recent U.S. Census Bureau data shows that from 2014 to 2016, employment among Hispanic women-owned firms grew at a rate of 14%. In 2016, Hispanic women employed over 570,000 workers. As we celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month, celebrating and acknowledging women entrepreneurs' success and impact on our economy is paramount. It is my pleasure to present today the Entrepreneurial Spirit Award. This award is given to a woman entrepreneur who is a leader in business, provides economic impact in the community, engaged in our local and national chambers, and redefining the role of women entrepreneurs. Without further ado, it is my honor to provide someone I call mi hermana y amiga de la Cámara de Greater Dallas Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, founder and president of Sema Logistics, Olga Lopez.
Buenos dias. First, let me just say all honor and glory to God for all the blessings. Thank you. I'm extremely honored to be receiving such an important award, the Entrepreneur Spirit Award, and congratulations to all the nominees. Marianne Kellum, the Irving Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, thank you for nominating me, and thank you to the U.S. Hispanic Chamber of Commerce for this award. I'm so grateful for the recognition that I've received for my work, and it's even more special to receive it from Betty Manera, a strong, talented Latina that I admire, I look up to, and not only for her success as an entrepreneur, but for her commitment to and the contributions that she's made to our community. I've faced several challenges on my way, but each one of them has only strengthened me to make me the person that I am today. A thorough professional who knows exactly what she wants, someone who sets her eyes on a goal and doesn't lose sight of it until it's achieved. Winning this award would not have been possible without the inspiration that I receive from my mentors and my colleagues, for whom I have the deepest respect and for whom I've derived the strength to challenge myself and perform better at each stage. I plan to use this recognition to inspire and encourage other professionals to be an example, to communicate and conquer for the common good. I encourage you to share your vision and encourage others to take part in serving our community. I sincerely thank each of you, my family, Manny Molina, Emily, Blake Nava, and my padrino Oscar Dominguez for helping me reach a stage where I can proudly hold up this award as a mark of my achievement. I also promise to not only get better at my work so that you can see me here for more such awards in the future. So thank you. Sema, this is for you. Thank
you. Felicidades, Ms. Lopez. Continuing our program with the panel discussion, The Ascension of Latina Executives into Positions of Power, welcome our moderator, the Vice President for Stakeholder and Community Management for the Coca-Cola Company, Alba Castillo-Valen.
And good morning again. What an amazing morning. I've been looking forward to this panel because I know we're going to be inspired and energized by the panel members. They are incredible. And personally, I like to acknowledge when positive change happens. And for me, this morning is a reflection of that. The theme of this conference, Women in Business and Leadership, the panel that we just heard, is exactly positive change. And I know I'm going to date myself, but when I started my career over 30 years ago, we didn't have this type of events. And maybe, something that resonates to a few of you. But now, thinking about where we are and where we need to go, I do not want to minimize the many challenges that lie ahead for our Hispanics as a whole, but in particular women, to experience equity and inclusion as a full reality in all walks of our American life. So to me, that's why this conference is so important. Congratulations to Ramiro and to many leaders who are here, because it's all of us working together that will be able to realize the much needed change. Thank you. And a great example is the panel members that I have here. These are all accomplished Latinas who are difference makers in corporate America and in our community. When I got to meet each of them and talk to them, these are the women that are resetting the perception bar to really ensure that corporate America knows that Latina leadership is key in order for the companies to progress and an economies to thrive. So I'm going to sit down and start introducing them. First, I would like to call Jenny Brosa. She is the Affluent Diverse Customer Segment Leader for Wells Fargo. Welcome, Jenny. And next, Silvana Montenegro with JP Morgan. She is the Global Head of Advancing Hispanics and Latinas. Hello, Silvana. And last but not least, Jamel Sanchez Ocaña, who is the Executive Director of Global Procurement at Merck, and she's joining us virtually. Hello. So we want to start with each of them sharing a little bit about what they do, how you're changing the landscape, and what you're passionate about. Let's start with you, Jenny.
Perfect, thank you. On behalf of Wells Fargo, thank you for inviting us. Thank you for having us here at the convention. I support affluent, diverse segments. So part of my pitch every day is talking to the leaders across Wells Fargo to reinforce the fact that we often assume diverse equals low to moderate income, and low to moderate income equals diverse. There is a huge opportunity across affluent, diverse segments, particularly in the Latino space, and we are trying to bring awareness to that throughout the company to start designing the way we engage with them and the way we serve them as they build their financial path upwards through their affluency.
Thank you. Silvana.
Thank you all for having us. It's a pleasure to represent JP Morgan Chase here today. I am very fortunate to be in a new and really innovative role for JP Morgan Chase. We created a center of excellence globally responsible for advancing Hispanics and Latinos within JP Morgan and outside of JP Morgan. And we do that work focusing on a few really important pillars. So one is financial health education. The second one is business growth. We are also focused on community development and developing our own internal talent.
Great, thanks, Silvana. And you, Jamel?
Hi, thank you so much, Hala. Well, Jamel Sanchez Ocaña, I am, as said, representing Merck. So first, apologies for not being there in person with you guys, but I am very grateful for the opportunity to participate in this panel with such amazing women. And thank you also to Ramiro Cavazos and Alice Rodriguez. I am also part of the board of the United States Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and I am also chair of the Economic Inclusion and Supply Diversity at Merck. And this has given me a great opportunity to renew the vision that we have on how to bring diverse suppliers, how to transform the way that we attract that, and how we can recreate opportunities at our large footprint for our Hispanic and diverse suppliers. So it's a very unique opportunity that we have, and we really are taking advantage of that, working on that every day. So thank you.
Thanks, Jamel. Well, let's get on it. So let me start with you, Jenny. In a very real sense, your individual success is evidence of systemic change that has far-reaching possibilities. So tell us, how do you continue to drive this systemic change while also advancing the mission and purpose of your company, Wells Fargo?
Perfect. Yeah. So there's a few things as I was thinking through my thoughts, and I think about Latinas and also the success I've had. I think there's two key pieces. One is we are natural caregivers. Whether it's in the home, whether it's outside the home, there is a natural inclination for us to act as caregivers. We also have this little bit of extra grit. I think every woman in here has that little bit of extra grit that you bring to the table every day. And when I think about how we use that to advance our purposes, whether it's serving small businesses, serving corporate America, serving customers of Wells Fargo, it's about serving as caregivers for our customers. It's about serving as caregivers for the next generation of leaders at Wells Fargo, at individual companies, to advance the causes, advance the awareness, make sure leadership across the financial institutions is aware of the growing population. We heard statistics yesterday about every year 1 million Hispanics turning 18 years old. Another statistic was that 19% of the college enrollees are Hispanic, 56% of them are women. As you consider those factors and couple them together, it is our responsibility to make sure that we are educating leaders across financial institutions, across corporate government, et cetera, to make sure that we bring awareness to the growing population and our commitment to serve the customers in this space and make sure that we create a path forward for the leaders of the next generation.
Thanks, Jenny. And now to you, Silvana. The professional identity developed on Latinas, how they are professionally different from their male counterparts, and what it is crucial to have their perspective at the table.
I think that's such an important question, first of all. I think as a community, the power we bring to the table cannot be underestimated. But as Latinas, I think we're really the glue of our communities, right? And you empower one Latina and you empower an entire community. I think as we think about their roles within our companies, especially as I reflect on the effects of the pandemic, and how much we all had to adapt and work in a different way to serve our clients, what we've seen happening, which was so crucial for innovation, was the power of connecting, adapting, and creating an environment where everybody felt safe and was taking risk. And I think the skill set that Latinas bring to the table in terms of building trust with colleagues is the prerequisite to really drive innovation and tremendous change. So I honestly think we have the power to change the world. And we work with men, of course, but I do think that Latinas have a very, very, very important role to play in this environment.
Yes, that's a great point. And I'm thinking about Sid this morning. Earlier, he said we all need our allies, our men allies. So, gentlemen, you play a very important role. Jamel, to you, let's start talking about Latinas and the role we have in businesses, because Latinas start businesses at 5 times the rate of non-Latinas. What does this mean for our economic revitalization? How do we assist this segment of entrepreneurs with capital and technical assistance? No.
Let's see, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that. Thank you. So, thank you. So, no, thank you for the great question, Alba. As you said, I mean, we know that the small business are in present day engine that continues building our actual economy in America. So, knowing that Latinas starts business, as you said, at 5 times the rate of non-Latinas, give us a great opportunity to support and connect them with private equities firms that will be supporting those investments in their companies where they can demonstrate their capabilities and products and infuse their companies with the necessary capital to continue growing. It was really interesting to hear from our colleague from Bank of America this morning talking about that as well, and saying how much they are investing on this small business and how important it is train and skill them up so they can be successful. So bringing this business and having their well-oriented, we should be able to pair them with the big companies with this small business, and then create really a strong partnership in the support that they can provide by building also a great diversity program that can give continuity to supporting this small business. That is what is going to make them successful. So hopefully we continue, all of us, in a seat that we can influence this. Hopefully we continue influencing these diverse programs that can invest on the programs and the business that the Latinas are initiating.
Thank you, Jamel. That's such a great point. And I'm going to transition back to you, Silvana. How can we continue to promote Latinas into positions of power? We heard from Esther in the boardroom, we're only not even 1%, and we represent 18% of the population. C-suite, slightly different. So what do we need to do?
I think it really starts from the base. Right? I think right now it is so critical that we provide young Latinas with the skill sets and the support they need to succeed, right? We know that many of us had to work while we were going to college, right? So there is no book for, okay, here's exactly what you do when you join the corporate environment. So I think our work starts even before they get to the corporate world. And I think internally, it really takes a village, right? It is counting on allies. I think we as Latinas, we have a responsibility to really bring others along with us. Because what makes a difference in people's careers is really the one-on-one. Right? So how many Latinas I bring up and all of my colleagues bringing other Latinas up, I think it's very important. I think on the flip side to that, and that's something that we've been working very hard at JP Morgan Chase, is driving accountability at the very top of the house, right? Because we can all do our part, but at the end of the day, when leadership is accountable for making things better and moving the needle, that's how we build lasting change.
Yes, it's all about measuring what you don't measure. You don't really know how you're tracking. Anything to add to that, Jenny?
I think it comes down to intent. We can't just celebrate Hispanics and Latinos and Latinas during Hispanic Heritage Month. I mean, some companies check the box in doing this. A company has to act with intent. And I can say that at Wells Fargo, and I assume at all the other companies, there is an intentional effort from the CEO down. They have kicked off an executive council of Hispanics and Latinos and Latinas that are the top leaders across the company. And they kicked this off last fall. And what they did for 3 months, is they literally just listened. Charlie Scharf, who will be here later today, literally just listened to us for 3 months talk about the change that was needed to serve Latinos, Latinas, and then we designed the change and they approved it. And the operating committee attends every monthly meeting with us. They ask us questions, they ask us what's working, what's changing, but that was done with intent. It was advancing the next step forward beyond celebrating the month that we're supposed to celebrate. It was an everyday effort. And I think every company needs to make that intentional effort.
I love that. So every day is our day. Jamel, anything to add from Mary and your perspective?
Thank you. I fully agree with Silvana and Jenny. I think that it is on us to break that, and the previous panelists were talking about that, how to break these biases and start building a more represented picture of who we are as Latinas. And that only happens with ourselves to providing that opportunity and supporting. I totally agree on the comments on bringing those one-on-ones, on being allies, and to really support those programs and be committed to continue bringing up the Latinas to be successful.
Thanks, Jamel. And then, Jenny, any personal success stories that are relevant to this panel and our audience?
I think it's, there's never been a day that I don't come in and just work hard. I mean, for me, it's constantly, the company has allowed me to thrive. I've been with the company for 18 years, and that's not just by chance. The company has to serve you, but you also have to serve the company. And every day I work, every day I'm advancing myself, whether it's a lateral move, which we should also celebrate, or it's an upwards move. I am constantly working for that next level of change, but the company has allowed me that opportunity, right? They recognize my strengths and my values and my, what I bring to the table, and then they celebrate that I'm Hispanic. They don't just put me in because I'm Hispanic. They celebrate me for what I bring, and then they acknowledge me for who I am. And I can't say enough about how thankful I am. I wouldn't have been there this long if they didn't provide me with that.
Great, thank you. And Silvana, the same question for you, but I want to learn a little bit more about your new role and what sparked all of that. And tell us, you are now leading this amazing new work. So tell us a little bit of how you got there and your personal reflections.
Absolutely. So I've been with JP Morgan Chase for 24 years, started my career in Latin America. I actually grew up in Brazil. And I moved to New York not thinking too much about what I was doing. I left everybody behind. Thank goodness. My family is great in New York. It all worked out. And during these 24 years, 17 of those I really spent supporting the Latin America region. And I've always been extremely passionate about elevating the voice of our Latinos. I think we get underestimated too often. I think we have strong talents. Some traits of our culture sometimes don't show up as we are ambitious or we want more. And my life journey has actually taken me to this role because I've always been an advocate and an ambassador of our community. And when this role was created a few months ago, I felt it was my calling. I really felt, because it's not about each one of us, it's about all of us, and what is the impact that we can have. So as I think about this role, in summary, is using the power of JP Morgan Chase and our many partners, including organizations and obviously the US Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, to drive sustainable change for our community and really get all of us with a voice at the table and represented with the full power that we bring, not just small pieces of assumptions of who we are as a community.
Great. Thank you. And then, Jamel, personal stories that are relevant to this panel. We'd love to hear from you.
Thank you. So I want to highlight the how we have been developing more than personal. I want to highlight on the company, how we have been able to develop and grow a Latina business program across the entire enterprise. So her name is Elisabeth Miranda, and she owns CQ Fluency, it's a translation company. And a couple of years ago, she approached us, she's from Brazil, she approached us to partner with us and try to think about how we could be creating a more sustainable translation program for the company. And I have to say that through this time, 3 years, through this time, we have been able to implement the program, take it across the enterprise, implementing all the countries and make the relationship successful. So it is not only supporting, but it's really having the satisfaction on having a win-win situation where you know that you are developing that business, but you are also developing yours. So it is this commitment that we have, and that makes us very happy. That makes me very happy on how we can continue supporting not only the Hispanic and Latinos, but the Latinas. So happy to share that story.
Thanks, Jamel. And I think we've heard about Latinas. I mean, your examples are incredible, what you do. And I was reflecting about in her footsteps. I think many of us are moms. I'm a mom, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, I work. And I think what we bring to the table is that ability to manage and multitask and making sure, I think for me personally, is taking care of my family. If I know they are set, then I can do everything else. But the sisterhood, helping each other, because we need the network, we need the conversation, we need to share, because that's when we learn what worked for one that might not work for the other, or how can we replicate. And last but not least is always bringing the gentlemen on that journey with all of us. So I appreciate sharing the stage with you. I captured a lot of notes for me, so thank you. And thank you, Jamel, for joining us virtually. Congratulations. I think we'll all continue to cheer for each other and celebrating as we realize the opportunities that we have for Latinas in this country. So thank you.
Thank you.
And now, Silvana, I'm going to give the stage to you.
Thank you.
I hear that you have a very important announcement. So we're going to exit the stage. Again, thank you, and thanks to all.
All right. So JP Morgan Chase is proud to announce that we're making a special investment of $250,000 that will allow the U.S. Hispanic Chamber of Commerce to make additional technology enhancements that will improve the integrated customer relationship system. This investment will also provide state-of-the-art software that will increase the ability to deliver more Fortune 500 corporate procurement and federal government contracting opportunities for our members. Espero que tengan un buen día y que sigan disfrutando el resto de nuestra conferencia. Muchísimas gracias.
This concludes our morning's program. Many thanks to all our panelists and guests, and thank you for joining us.